Hey, what's going on, guys? Rago here from Mac Kite. So if you've been watching this series for a while, you know that we mainly focus on kite comparisons. You know, mostly kites, whether it's within a respective brand or kites of a similar category. And as a lot of you know, I'm actually taking some time to go film and log some hours on the Nash gear right now in Florida. But you know, in order to do that, I had to get ahead with our videos. So I'm just doing a couple of different videos right now. I'm experimenting, you know, and I mentioned last week as well to let me know, you know, if you like the direction we're going a little bit, and we're just going to fill in with other topics, whether it's twin tip comparisons, wetsuit comparisons, you name it. So let me know what you'd like to see outside of the kites, and we're going to take it from there. So this week I thought it would be kind of fun to do wetsuit comparison. So we're going to talk about front zip versus back zip, and as well what thickness might be right for you for the conditions that you're going in. So let's get to it. First things first, so you can see I have here a front zip wetsuit and a back zip. So I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with you know, your traditional back zip. So as you can see here, there's a zipper on the back. Just like that, you're going to enter the suit like that. They're usually characterized by having some kind of neck gaiter that's going to help with the flush. So this just goes around the back of your neck, and then that helps with the water entering into the suit. And then you have the front zip. With these, you just zip it out, and then from there you'll actually want to roll the suit down. And the trick to get into these is to kind of, you know, peel it back like a banana. And I get into the suit, there we go. Good thing we can do straight cuts, right? Let's just cut to it. All right, so with a front zip suit, you know, the secret to get into these is to peel it back. So the major differences really between the front zip and the back zip is the front zip, it is going to be a little bit warmer, and you're gonna have a lot less flush. And what I mean by flush is when you crash and you get some water, you know, in the seal of your neck there, and then it flushes your suit out. Whereas the back zip, it's gonna be a lot easier to get into. But you know, the other difference is getting a little bit techie, I suppose, is with the front zip, so you can actually bend over and hunch and move, and then there's no real restriction on the suit. So just to show you here with this one, for example, you know, when the rider actually hunches over, you know, to go for a grab or whatever, there's no zipper here. Whereas with the back zip, that is, you know, one small thing to consider. And again, that's pretty minuscule, but it is something that they point out on the suits. So, you know, the two main takeaways here is the front zip, it's harder to get into, but warmer. Back zip, easier to get into, but not as warm. And that's really the only real difference other than a little bit of the flexibility with the zipper. So moving on to the more important question, you know, what thickness wetsuit should you get? So most surfers, most kiteboarders, most windsurfers usually have a summer suit and a winter suit. And I'm sure there are guys out there that actually have a spring or fall suit as well. But usually the best strategy to go for is, you know, if you live somewhere warm, like Florida or parts of California, you know, there's a good chance you probably only need like a 3mm, maybe a 4mm suit. Whereas you live somewhere, you know, like New York or the Pacific Northwest, or here in Grand Haven, Michigan even, a lot of times what we'll like to do is we'll have our summer suit. So a lot of us will do like a 3-2 or a 4-3. So what I mean by that is you're gonna have like 3 or 4mm, you know, on your core and the parts of the suit that need to be warm, and then you'll have just a little bit less material in the places where you need a little bit more flex. So that's what that means when I say 3-2 or 4-3. Now moving on, you have like 5-4-3s or 5-4s or 6-4s. And for the winter, for those winter months, you know, when you're gonna be doing, you know, say like October until January or whatever, you're going to want to get a warmer suit, depending on how far you want to push it. So what a lot of people will do is go for like a 5-4, and that gets most of us through most of the season, and you can get that a little bit warmer by adding something like a thermalite or just some thermal layers underneath that are essentially thermal underwear for the water that you wear underneath your wetsuit. You can pair that with boots and hoods. If you're somewhere really cold, you might want to consider like a 6-4 front zip with a built-in hood. And what that's going to do is it's going to prevent the water flush, it's going to keep you completely warm. You're going to be nice and toasty in one of those, and get yourself a good pair of like 5mm boots, and then like a 3mm mitten, or my personal favorite would be like the 3mm glove with a claw. So it's the 3-finger claws, usually what they call them, and Excel has a great one. NP has a really good one. But otherwise, there's gloves, lots of options to explore. But point being, you just have to figure out what your wetsuit quiver is, and whether that's, a 3.2 and a 5.4, or maybe a 4.3 and a 6.4. And this is completely subjective. You just have to pull up the chart for each wetsuit. So every suit that you're looking at, it's going to have some kind of scale, for temperature that you can get into the water with. And then just look at the average stats for where you're riding and what kind of temperatures. But even more importantly, ask the locals. See what size wetsuits they're riding in. And that's really going to be the ticket. And what about fit? How should a wetsuit fit? Well, you do want a wetsuit to be tight, but you don't want it to be uncomfortable. So you should be able to move, have full range of motion. It shouldn't be choking you on the neck. But things to watch out for are like on your arms or your legs. If you have a lot of slack right here, what's going to happen is when that's constantly moving and getting stretched, over time, if it's not a nice snug fit here, that actually can wear on the suit and tear the suit. So you just want to make sure that you don't have a ton of slack in your armpits or your groin when you're walking. So just watch out for that, make sure it's a good snug fit. And then from there, it's very subjective, right? So it needs to be tight, but it shouldn't be choking you and it shouldn't be too uncomfortable. So too loose, you're going to get a lot of water flush, it's going to be a little bit colder. So you're looking for that just right fit, and that's really the ticket with sizing. And I mentioned it in the video already. Just look for the size chart for every wetsuit. So every wetsuit's going to actually have measurements taken. And I'd actually encourage you to just get your hands on some tape from a grocery store or whatever. Just get your hands on some measuring tape and take some measurements, because this really does go a long way in getting the right size fit. Measure your chest, measure your waist, measure your neck, and just make sure you're getting the right fit. Fitting can get a little bit tricky, but if you stick with the principles, if you actually make a point to get some measuring tape and take your measurements and then follow the size guide, you're going to be fine. And I think a lot of people skip this step when they're looking for a wetsuit. They don't actually get their measurements and they don't make sure it's the right fit. And you really don't want to have the wrong size wetsuit. It makes a big difference when you're out there and you want to stay warm, that it fits nice and snug, that you have full range of motion, and most importantly, you need to be comfortable. So if you stick within the size guide and you get your measurements, most likely you're going to get a good fit. So that's really the trick there. There's other things as well to consider, because some suits are like, $150, and then there's $500 suits. So what's going on there? Well, it depends on the brand, right? And there's a number of things that you get as you move up. Usually the suit gets a little bit warmer. Sometimes the suit gets warmer and a little more fragile, depending if it's like windskin. Other suits actually get warmer, but also more durable, like NP's combat suit, for example. Incredibly durable. It has the armor skin. You can claw at that. It's pretty hard to hurt that suit. And of course, it's still a wetsuit. You need to take care of it, right? But point being, the higher up you go in the hierarchy, typically what you're going to get is a warmer, more flexible suit. The lower you go, you're going to get maybe a little less warm, maybe a little less flexible. So again, as you move up the ranks, a lot of suits will end up having like for example, bamboo charcoal, which will help with the odor. Sometimes, they'll have reinforced tape seals just to help with that water and durability. As well, you'll also find that some of them will actually have drainage, so there'll be some holes that'll actually drain the water. And you may have experienced this when you're on the water, and you're out there riding, and you take a good fall, and all of a sudden your legs are jellyfishing a little bit, and it's because that water's filled in. So, as you move up the hierarchy, you're going to get suits that smell better, they drain, they're a bit warmer, they're a bit more flexible. So every suit's a little bit different. You're going to want to look at the differences and just decide if they're right for you. You can always call us too. If you're looking at a suit, just give us a buzz and let us know what you're thinking. We can break it down for you, let you know what's going on with the wetsuit. It's not rocket science. Just pick a suit that you like the way that it looks. Are you okay with getting into a front zip and having a little bit harder time getting in, but having a little more warmth? Or would you like the ease of entry? Just pick what features work for you out of each suit. Give us a call. We'll work with you. We'll help you out on it. And final thoughts on wetsuits is just wetsuit care. So just make sure that you're rinsing your suit out when you're done. Hang it out and let it dry somewhere cool and dry. So don't leave it in the sun. Don't leave it in your car. Think of it like you would leave a rubber band in your car, for example. What happens, right? It gets brittle over time as it stretches. So you don't want to leave your wetsuit. I made the mistake of that, and your glue can actually come undone, or the seals will actually start breaking, and more or less you're going to destroy your suit if you leave in a hot car all the time. And of course, some of us have to make that call when we're going to work and maybe want to get a session after work. You might leave it in your car. But I would actually encourage you to maybe even put it on a hanger and just bring it into work and hang it on your cubicle. You know, you're a kiteboarder. Wear it with pride. If you can get away with that at your office, probably do that. Keep your wetsuit out of the sun. It's going to last a whole lot longer. Other things to consider is, you know, it's neoprene, and wetsuits have come a long way in regards to flexibility and warmth. But you know, I mean, a suit from 1980 might still be kicking because they were just so durable back in the day, but any modern suit, you just want to be considerate, right? You don't want to claw at it. You got to watch out if you catch it like on a dock or a nail or something sharp like that. So just, you know, watch out for your suits, and if you do happen to catch a tear, it's not that big of a deal. Just grab some wetsuit cement or some other kind of repair material, and the very moment you see something on your suit, just patch it up, right? Just take care of it. Otherwise, what's going to happen is a small tear is going to grow into a big tear, and then you're going to have to get a new suit. So hey guys, I hope you found this video helpful. And again, let me know if I'm on track here. You know, I'm going to make a point to take this weekend and read over your comments. And this video is actually scheduled out, so it's releasing while I'm gone. So if you had any great ideas and I haven't gotten to it yet, don't worry, we'll get to those. You know, I'll go through the list, and I'm compiling a list right now of videos that I can do, and we'll just keep moving forward from there. So with all that said, if you found this helpful, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. And until next time, this has been Rygo at Mac Height, and I will see you next Wednesday.